So recently, I took a trip down to the Annapolis Valley region of Nova Scotia to a small town known as Berwick. And while I was there, I went into a store by the name of Bargain Harley's. And Bargain Harley's is a well-known store. It's the type of store that buys liquidation sales, end lots, fire sales, lots of stuff that have been put up for sale. And they bid on it and they bring it to the store and they sell it at a discount price. And I had heard that they were carrying some products by the company Trailblazer. Now, Trailblazer was a company from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia that had produced a line of outdoor goods for outdoorsmen. And what I found when I got there was a small folding saw. And the small folding saw folds out, and I'll show you up close the name Trailblazer on this. And it's, well, the easiest way for me to show it to you is to compare it against the Baco. Here's my Baco. So you can see that they are fairly close in size, both the same weight, and when the blades are open on both, the blades are similar in length as well, but that's where the similarities end. I'm looking at the two of them right now. I can see that the Trailblazer teeth are quite small, sharp but very small in comparison to the Baco. But it was the price that drew me to this. $7.88 Canadian. So you might ask, why am I showing you a product from a company that's no longer in business? If you can't buy this, what's the point? Well, it's actually not this product that I wanted to talk about. It's two other products that I bought that also by the name Trailblazer. Those products have been picked up, or at least their patents have been picked up by another company in the Maritimes in New Brunswick by a gentleman by the name of Mike Holland. Mike Holland owns a store and a business called the Resourceful Redneck. And you can find that online. I'll provide the information below. But at the Resourceful Redneck, Mike has picked up three of the Trailblazer products for sale. And those two products are a small hatchet. Now, the ones that Mike are selling are a blaze orange, the entire hatchet. This is a Trailblazer model. Has a nice nylon case. It has a rubber overmold handle, but I have extra large hands, so I've wrapped that multiple times with electrical tape just to give me a little bit more bulk. And it's a very lightweight hatchet. It's just over 1 pound. I think it's 17 ounces. It has a stainless steel blade of about 3.5 millimeters thickness and a Scandi grind on the edge, 3.5 inch cutting surface. And you'd say, well, it's not a very high-end knife and it certainly doesn't have a lot of weight. What can you do with it? Well, what it's designed for and what it works very well as is a light pack axe. When you don't want to carry a full-size axe or even a large hatchet, but you're looking to reduce your weight, this will serve. Maybe not as well, but it will certainly do most of the tasks. If you look at the way it's designed, where the eye would be on a regular axe, it's a wedge shape and it comes down to meet the blade, and at the pawl, the stainless steel comes right through. What that allows you to do is to baton with this knife, and it does that quite well. And that Scandi edge helps with that as well. So the closest hatchet that I have in size to this is my Wetterlings. Let me take that one out of the scabbard as well, out of the mask. My Wetterlings Wildlife hatchet, and it is considerably heavier, but they are about the same length. The blade on the Wetterlings is a little shorter. The profile, of course, is much thicker towards the eye, and it'll certainly do more work, but it is probably a pound heavier. So I'm going to do a few tests with these two hatchets in a few minutes just to give you some comparisons of how they work. The other product is a bow saw. And they have two model bow saws, the 18-inch and the 24-inch, and this is the 18-inch bow saw. It has a little bit of weight, but not much, and I'll annotate that in the video as well. And this is a complete compact bow saw all put together, and I'm going to assemble this for you to show you how it works. But this is the type of thing that I'll carry mostly in the winter, but I brought it out today to show you, for processing large amounts of work. And it's a very effective saw, to be honest. It compares very well with my Silky Gomboy. So let me assemble this and I'll show you these products. And again, the reason I'm showing you these is not because you can find Trailblazer anymore, but you can find these products through the Resourceful Redneck, through the owner Mike Holland. Alright, let me set up and I'll show you these being assembled. So the whole saw is contained within this about 19-inch long tube And I'll put the weight on the screen, but it's quite light. You can see I've got some Gorilla Tape wrapped around the outside of it for two reasons. You'll see when it's assembled, it does provide me an area to grip. It does also provide me some insulation against the cold metal in the wintertime, and it does give me another source of duct tape that can be used for multiple things, everything from fire starting to repairs. So what holds this whole thing together is this spring pin on the end that has the green paracord on it, and I keep that green paracord on it so that I don't lose this by laying it down. Otherwise it makes it a little bit more difficult to keep everything contained. Inside the main tube, second tube, cross member, saw blade, and the tensioning rod. So the way to assemble this is start by placing your cross member in both sides. There we go. Tensioning rod will go through this way. Let me see. Hook into the far side. And the tensioning rod has a wing nut on it and a washer. Don't want them quite put together. The saw blade is an 18-inch saw blade, and it's not a regular saw blade. Well, it is, but with the addition of a couple of pieces of plastic on each end as stoppers. So you couldn't go out and buy just any 18-inch saw blade. You need to have one that's designed for this saw. They go in those notches, and the wing nut is tightened up. There we go. Now the wing nut, I was a little afraid of this assembly when I first got it because I was afraid that I'd lose the wing nut and washer assembly off the end. But what they've done is they've pinched it and messed up the threads on it so that it can't back off. So that's going to be permanently attached. So now I've got a very stable saw that will provide good cutting service. It needs just a little bit more tightening. There. Nice and stable. And I'll give you a demonstration of that in a moment. Much more aggressive. All right, let's try it with the bow saw. Yeah, it's a good saw. So I guess the question is, when I'm comparing the Trailblazer compact saw or hatchet against the Wetterling's wildlife hatchet, is will they split? Well, there's definitely more weight and more of a wedge shape to the Wetterling's, and I'm sure it'll split these small 3-inch rounds quite readily, without question. But will the Trailblazer do the same? Yeah, I guess it will. One more time. Yep. Now I agree, it's not the biggest piece of wood, but it's going through it with no problem. Once again with the Wetterling's hatchet. Yep. Here's something a bit bigger with a knot. That's going to be a bit of a test. Wetterling's took down the side. Will the Trailblazer finish it off? And the answer is yes. But again, it's not good wood. All right, let's try something a little different. How about some splitting of long pieces? All right, let's try the hatchets on something a little bit not rotten. That's a little bit sour too, but try this hatchet. Doesn't have the weight, but it does have the strength. That's a pretty big piece for this little hatchet. So what are my closing thoughts? Well, let's start with the hatchet. The hatchet compares in size to the Wetterling's wildlife hatchet, but not in weight. The Wetterling's is definitely a heavier tool. It's more capable of splitting, as well as the geometry of the edge makes it a little bit wider, and the cheeks widen out even more as it comes back towards the eye. So it is a bit of a better splitter. It is just as good at batoning as the Wetterling's, I found. Both of them work effective at that. But what this has an advantage is lighter pack weight. So you can pack this away for much less weight than the Wetterling's, and price. This is a fraction of the cost of the Wetterling's wildlife hatchet. Now, we know that Wetterling's is no longer going to be made, but Gransfors Brooks does have a comparable size hatchet as well. So this is still a much less expensive option to the Gransfors Brooks, and it is sturdy. There's no question that this can stand up to the abuse you want to give it. So even if you want to pack this away in a go bag or the trunk of your vehicle, or even if you're just on a light trip that you don't think you're going to be needing anything of any size to do processing wood, this will pack away nice and light and give you good options. I also like that I can choke up on this quite readily and use it as a knife edge. It is only 3.5–4 millimeters thick, but it's got a Scandinavian or zero ground edge and a 3.5-inch blade. That compares very well with a good bush knife. In fact, I can use it quite effectively for both feather sticking as well as carving chores, and maybe even a little processing the food as well. So that's a good option if you're looking for something less expensive than the either the Gransfors Brooks or the Wetterling's small hatchets. But what about the saw? Well, the 18-inch bow saw compared easily in performance to my Silky Gomboy 240. I was quite surprised and actually very pleased. I paid a fraction of the price of this for what a Gomboy is worth as well. This will actually process our larger pieces of wood. Yes, I know it has the restriction of the throat, but all you have to do is roll your log over and come at it from two sides, and you'll be able to get through quite a large piece of wood with this. It is light, it's a tiny bit heavier, and I'll annotate the weight on the screen. It's a tiny bit heavier than the Silky Gomboy, and it takes up a small or a little bit more room than the Silky Gomboy, but not by much. This will pack away, and you probably won't even notice in your backpack. It's just the length of this tube. That's the only thing you have to find room for in your backpack. An effective alternative? I think so. Can you imagine how much more effective the 24-inch one would be? Okay, so I'm showing you products that were made by Trailblazer, a company no longer in existence. But these two designs have been picked up by the Resourceful Redneck, Mike Holland, and they are available through his website. I have not been provided these by Mike, and nor is this a paid endorsement of the products that he has. I'm just two products that I own that I know that you can get the design somewhere, so why not promote them? Okay, so if you've enjoyed this video, if you've gained anything from it, please subscribe to my channel, and until next time, get out and explore. Take that path less traveled. It'll make all the difference. Bye for now.